My beloved sisters, life is full of chapters that often begin without warning and end without explanation. Sometimes the road ahead seems blurred and the heart feels heavy with questions. But here is the truth. Your greatest power lies in placing your trust in Allah. Not in the opinions of people, not in the trends of society, but in the wisdom of the one who created you, who knows your struggles and who holds the key to your success. Trust is not just a word, it is an action of the heart. When you wake up unsure about your future and you say, Wa Allah, I leave my affairs in your hands, something changes inside you. Suddenly, fear turns into calmness, doubt transforms into confidence, and weakness becomes strength. That is the beauty of tawakkul, reliance on Allah. It is not about being passive or doing nothing. No, it is about doing your best while knowing that the outcome is in the hands of the Almighty. Many women today feel pressure to prove themselves to the world, career, family, relationships, appearance. But let me tell you this, your worth is not defined by the size of your success in people's eyes. Your worth is defined by how much trust you have in Allah and how much effort you make to please Him. When a woman anchors her heart in faith, she becomes unshakable even in the strongest storm. Think about the women of faith in history. They faced challenges far greater than most of us can imagine, yet their reliance on Allah made them pillars of strength. They didn't wait for the world to validate them, they trusted Allah to elevate them, and He did. When your trust is in Allah, you are no longer afraid of failure because you know that every delay, every setback, every loss is simply a redirection towards something better. Trusting Allah also unlocks your true identity. It removes the masks you wear for society and lets your authentic self shine. Many of us live in fear, fear of judgment, fear of loneliness, fear of not being enough. But when you know that Allah is with you, that fear melts away. You realize that you were never alone and that your journey is not a race against others, but a path designed specifically for you by the one who loves you most. And let us talk about emotions. Some people say women are too emotional. But do you know what emotions really are? They are signs of depth, signs of life. When guided by faith, emotions can become your greatest strength. They give you the ability to nurture, to create, to empathize. However, without trust in Allah, these emotions can become chains that hold you down. Tawakkul frees you from those chains. It teaches you to feel deeply, yet remain strong, to love with all your heart, yet never forget that ultimate love belongs to Allah. Sisters, if you want to unlock your potential, start with patience and prayer. These are not just rituals, they are tools for transformation. Patience teaches you endurance and prayer reminds you of your purpose. When you bow your head in sujud, you are not lowering yourself, you are rising above the world. That is where true power lies, in surrender to the Almighty. So I invite you today to shift your focus. Stop asking, what will people say? And start asking, what does Allah want from me? Stop trying to control everything and instead trust the one who controls everything. Because when you do, your life will no longer feel like chaos. It will feel like a masterpiece, unfolding exactly as it should. True empowerment for a woman begins with surrendering her heart to Allah in complete trust. Many people misunderstand surrender, assuming it means weakness or passivity. In reality, surrendering to Allah is the ultimate form of strength because it requires courage to let go of control and accept that His plan is wiser than our own. When a woman internalizes this, she begins to experience a shift within her soul. The constant struggle of trying to predict the future, control outcomes, and meet worldly expectations starts to fade. Instead, there is peace, because the heart finds comfort in the one who never abandons. This is not blind faith, it is a conscious acknowledgement that Allah knows what we do not know. And His knowledge encompasses every detail of our lives, from the smallest to the greatest. When a woman places her trust in Allah, her inner world becomes aligned with divine wisdom. This alignment brings harmony between her thoughts, emotions, and actions. Life will still have challenges, but those challenges will no longer crush her spirit. Why? Because she knows they are not random events, they are carefully placed stepping stones in her journey. She stops asking, why me? And starts saying, what is Allah teaching me? This shift in perspective turns pain into purpose and trials into opportunities for growth. The woman who trusts Allah does not see herself as a victim of circumstances. Instead, she becomes a student of life, learning and evolving through every experience. Inner strength through surrender is not about giving up effort, it is about giving up resistance. There is a difference. A woman who trusts Allah continues to work hard, strive for excellence, and take action. But she does it without the burden of anxiety about outcomes. She knows that results are in Allah's hands, so her focus is on doing her best and leaving the rest to Him. This mindset liberates her from the chains of perfectionism and the fear of failure. She no longer measures her worth by achievements alone because she understands that her ultimate success lies in pleasing Allah, not in satisfying societal standards. One of the most profound aspects of surrender is emotional resilience. Life can be overwhelming, and women often carry multiple roles: mother, daughter, wife, professional, caregiver. These roles come with expectations and pressures that can easily lead to stress, insecurity, or burnout. But when a woman trusts Allah, she draws strength from Him rather than from external validation. She learns to detach from people's opinions, both praise and criticism, because her heart beats for the Creator, not the creation. This detachment does not make her cold or indifferent, rather, it makes her emotionally secure. She becomes capable of giving love without fear of rejection and setting boundaries without guilt because her sense of worth is rooted in something eternal, not temporary. Inner strength also shows in moments of silence, in those private conversations between a woman and her Lord when the world misunderstands her or when she feels isolated. At such times, surrender becomes her safe space. She realizes she does not need everyone to understand her as long as Allah understands. This realization transforms loneliness into solitude, a sacred space where her soul connects deeply with the divine. And from that connection comes clarity. Clarity about who she is, what matters, and where her energy should go. True empowerment through surrender is a journey, not a one-time decision. It requires consistent effort to remind oneself that control is an illusion and that holding on too tightly only brings pain. Many women hold on to relationships, plans, or expectations that Allah wants them to release. They fear that letting go means losing everything. But in truth, letting go opens the door to something far greater: peace of mind, contentment, and blessings beyond imagination. This is why those who surrender to Allah never truly lose. They either gain what they asked for or receive something better, even if it takes time to see it. Modern society often preaches independence as the ultimate goal. But independence without reliance on Allah leads to emptiness. A woman can have financial stability, academic success, and social recognition, yet still feel lost if her soul is disconnected from its source. On the other hand, a woman who trusts Allah may have less in worldly terms, but her heart is rich with peace. She walks through life with confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because she knows that whatever happens, Allah is with her. That sense of companionship is priceless. When you surrender your heart to Allah, you do not lose your individuality or your dreams. You do not become passive or helpless. Instead, you become a woman of strength, dignity, and wisdom. You start making decisions with courage because you know you are guided. You speak with grace because your words are rooted in truth. You carry yourself with confidence because you know your value does not fluctuate with trends. That is the power of surrender. It transforms not only your spiritual state but also your emotional and mental well-being. A woman who trusts Allah radiates a different kind of beauty, the beauty of serenity. She does not chase validation, and she does not crumble under criticism. Her confidence comes from the certainty that Allah never abandons those who place their trust in Him. And when this trust becomes her foundation, nothing in this world can break her because her strength comes from beyond this world. Embracing life's uncertainty with faith is one of the most transformative steps a woman can take on her spiritual journey. Life, by its very nature, is uncertain. We make plans, set goals, and dream of a future that seems clear to us, but in reality, we have no control over what lies ahead. This uncertainty often brings anxiety and fear because the human mind craves stability. We want to know what tomorrow holds. We want assurance that everything will go according to plan. But Allah, in His infinite wisdom, has kept the future hidden from us, and that is a blessing in disguise. When a woman understands this, she begins to see uncertainty not as an enemy but as an opportunity. It is in the unknown that faith grows. If everything was predictable, there would be no need for trust, no space for tawakkul. The unknown is where your relationship with Allah is tested and strengthened. Every time life throws a curveball, every time your plans fall apart, you are given a choice: to panic and feel defeated, or to embrace the moment and say, "Lay Allah, you know what I do not know, and I trust you." That moment of surrender is where true courage is born. Uncertainty is not meant to break you, it is meant to build you. Many women struggle with questions like, what if I fail? What if I never get married? What if I can't achieve my dreams? These questions weigh heavily on the heart, creating stress and hopelessness. But when faith enters the picture, the language changes. Instead of "what if I fail," it becomes "even if I fail, Allah has a better plan." Instead of "what if I never get what I want," it becomes "if it's good for me, Allah will give it to me, and if not, He will replace it with something better." This shift in thinking removes fear and replaces it with hope, because hope is born from trust in the divine plan. Consider how uncertainty has shaped some of the greatest stories of resilience. Every woman who ever achieved something remarkable went through periods of doubt and unpredictability. They didn't know how things would unfold, but they kept moving with trust. Similarly, in your own life, when doors close unexpectedly, it is not a sign that you are forgotten. It is a sign that Allah is redirecting you. If we only understood this truth, our hearts would rest even in the most turbulent times. Faith does not eliminate uncertainty, transforms the way you experience it. A woman with faith can walk into the unknown with calmness because she knows that even if she cannot see the path ahead, the one who created the path can. That knowledge gives her confidence to keep going when others give up. It gives her patience when results take time. It gives her strength when circumstances seem against her. The uncertainty remains, but the fear disappears, replaced by trust and optimism. There is a deep psychological beauty in this approach. When you constantly try to control outcomes, you live in a state of stress because you are fighting reality. But when you accept uncertainty as part of Allah's design, your mind relaxes. You stop overthinking every detail and start focusing on what you can control: your effort, your intentions, your prayers. This balance between effort and trust is what brings peace. You work hard because Islam encourages striving, but you do not exhaust your soul by chasing absolute certainty, because certainty in this life does not exist. Uncertainty is also a teacher. It teaches humility because it reminds us that no matter how much we plan, Allah's plan will always prevail. It teaches gratitude because when blessings arrive after a period of waiting and wondering, they feel sweeter. It teaches patience because you learn to live without instant answers. And most importantly, it teaches you reliance on Allah because without Him, uncertainty would crush you. With Him, uncertainty becomes a gateway to spiritual growth. When you face an uncertain situation, whether it's about your career, marriage, health, or finances, take it as an invitation to deepen your faith. Instead of drowning in fear, use it as an opportunity to strengthen your connection with Allah. Speak to Him in your own words. Share your worries, your hopes, your dreams. Ask Him for guidance. Then let go of the need to control everything. This act of letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. Because in letting go, you allow Allah to take over, and He never disappoints those who trust Him. A woman who embraces uncertainty with faith becomes unshakable. She no longer needs guarantees from the world because she has a guarantee from her Lord, that He is with those who trust Him, that He never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear, and that after every hardship comes ease. These promises turn uncertainty from a source of fear into a source of strength. So, my sisters, the next time life feels unpredictable, remind yourself uncertainty is not chaos, it is divine design. It is not the end of the story. It is part of a beautiful script written by the one who loves you more than anyone else. Trust Him, walk forward with courage, and you will see how uncertainty, when embraced with faith, unlocks doors you never imagined possible. Self-discovery through tawakkul is one of the most profound journeys a woman can take. In today's world, many people search for identity in external things: career titles, social validation, material possessions, or relationships. While these things can add value, they do not define the essence of who you are. Your true self is much deeper than any label society gives you. Tawakkul, which means complete trust in Allah while doing your part, opens the door to discovering that authentic self. It strips away illusions and reveals a strength and serenity that cannot be shaken by worldly circumstances. When a woman practices tawakkul, she begins to understand that her worth is not dependent on how others perceive her. This is a powerful realization because much of the anxiety and stress women face today comes from trying to live up to expectations of family, friends, society, and even self-imposed standards. These expectations can feel like chains, forcing you to act in ways that are not true to your nature. But tawakkul breaks those chains. It tells you your purpose is to please Allah and everything else is secondary. This shift liberates the soul. You no longer live for likes, approval, or comparisons. You live for meaning, for sincerity, and for growth. Self-discovery through tawakkul also means learning to embrace your unique journey. No two people have the same path in life because no two souls have the same story. Many times, women fall into the trap of comparison, comparing careers, marriages, beauty, achievements. But comparison kills contentment and blinds you to your own blessings. Tawakkul reminds you that your life is tailor-made by the one who knows what you need and when you need it. It teaches you to stop running someone else's race and to focus on the lane Allah has chosen for you. This realization brings peace because you understand that every delay, every struggle, every success has a purpose in shaping your character and bringing you closer to Allah. Discovering yourself also requires honesty, and tawakkul helps with that. When you rely on Allah, you do not need to wear masks to please people. You do not need to hide your vulnerabilities out of fear of judgment. Instead, you can be authentic because you know that your value does not decrease when others misunderstand you. This authenticity is empowering because it allows you to live with integrity and courage. You speak the truth with kindness, you make choices that align with your faith, and you refuse to compromise your principles for fleeting approval. That is the kind of strength tawakkul brings. It allows you to be unapologetically yourself while staying humble before Allah. Another aspect of self-discovery through tawakkul is resilience. Life will test you. There will be heartbreaks, losses, failures, and disappointments. In those moments, many people lose themselves because they place their identity in temporary things. When a relationship ends, they feel worthless. When a career goal fails, they feel like a failure. But a woman who has tawakkul remains grounded because her sense of worth is anchored in something eternal. She understands that setbacks are not the end. They are redirections. She does not see challenges as punishments, she sees them as lessons. This perspective allows her to rise after every fall, stronger and wiser than before. Tawakkul also deepens self-awareness. When you trust Allah, you become more reflective. You start asking meaningful questions. What kind of person am I becoming? Am I living according to my values? Am I nurturing my soul? This kind of introspection is rare in a world that glorifies constant activity and external success. But tawakkul slows you down and centers you. It reminds you that inner growth is more important than outward achievements. As a result, you invest more in character than in image, more in sincerity than in popularity. That is true self-discovery, when you align your inner world with the values that truly matter. Moreover, tawakkul strengthens emotional intelligence. It helps you manage fear, anxiety, and anger because you realize that control belongs to Allah. You no longer panic when things don't go your way because you know there is wisdom behind every outcome. This calmness is a sign of maturity. It shows that you have discovered a deeper layer of yourself, the layer that trusts the unseen, that finds comfort in prayer, that smiles in the face of uncertainty because it knows who is in charge. One of the most beautiful fruits of tawakkul is confidence, real confidence, not the superficial kind based on appearance or achievements. This confidence comes from faith. It tells you you are enough as long as you are sincere with Allah. When you internalize this truth, you stop seeking validation from people. You no longer feel the need to impress anyone because your heart is focused on pleasing the one who matters most. This inner security radiates outward, making you graceful, composed, and strong. Self-discovery through tawakkul is not a destination, it is a lifelong process. There will always be moments of doubt, fear, and confusion. But every time you choose trust over worry, faith over fear, you grow closer to the person Allah created you to be. And that person is strong, resilient, compassionate, and unbreakable because her foundation is not this world, it is her relationship with Allah. Balancing emotional depth with spiritual stability is one of the greatest strengths a woman can develop. Women are naturally gifted with emotional sensitivity, a blessing that allows them to nurture, empathize, and build strong connections. This depth of feeling is not a weakness. It is a sign of strength and compassion. However, if emotions are left unguided, they can lead to impulsive decisions, unnecessary stress, and even despair. The key is not to suppress emotions, but to channel them through the wisdom of faith. And this is where spiritual stability comes in. Spiritual stability acts like an anchor in the stormy sea of emotions. Life will always bring moments of joy and sorrow, success and failure, hope and disappointment. These fluctuations are natural, but when a woman's heart is grounded in trust in Allah, her emotional waves do not drown her. Instead, they become gentle tides that move her closer to her Creator. This balance does not mean being emotionless. It means feeling deeply without being consumed by those feelings. One of the reasons emotional balance is so challenging today is because society often sends conflicting messages. On one hand, women are told to express every emotion freely. On the other hand, they are expected to appear strong and unaffected. This contradiction creates inner conflict, leading many women to feel overwhelmed or misunderstood. Islam, however, teaches a middle path, a way to honor emotions while maintaining composure. The Prophet, peace be upon him, himself expressed emotions. He wept in times of grief, smiled in times of joy, and prayed during times of distress. This shows that emotions are not sinful, they are part of being human. The difference lies in how we respond to them. When a woman trusts Allah, she learns to regulate her emotions rather than suppress or exaggerate them. For example, when she feels anxious about the future, instead of spiraling into fear, she reminds herself of Allah's wisdom and seeks comfort through prayer. When she feels angry, instead of lashing out, she pauses and seeks refuge in Allah from negative impulses. This ability to pause and reflect is what creates spiritual stability. It does not erase emotions, but it gives them direction. Another important aspect of this balance is understanding that emotions are temporary, while spiritual principles are constant. Joy, sadness, fear, and excitement all come and go, but the values of patience, gratitude, and trust remain firm. When a woman clings to these values, she finds peace even when her emotions fluctuate. For instance, during hardship, she may feel sadness. That is natural. But her sadness does not lead to hopelessness because faith reminds her that every difficulty has an end. Similarly, during moments of happiness, she feels joy but does not become arrogant because she knows blessings are a trust from Allah, not a personal achievement. Balancing emotional depth with spiritual stability also means embracing vulnerability without losing strength. Many women fear showing vulnerability because they associate it with weakness. But vulnerability is not weakness when it is shared with the right one, Allah. Pouring your heart out in dua is one of the most powerful acts of worship. It gives you emotional release and spiritual strength at the same time. When you cry to Allah, you are not breaking down, you are recharging your soul. This sacred vulnerability transforms emotional pain into spiritual growth. It is also important to recognize that emotional intelligence plays a big role in this balance. Emotional intelligence means being aware of your feelings, understanding them, and managing them wisely. Faith enhances this intelligence because it gives you tools like patience, self-control, and gratitude. A woman with strong faith knows when to speak and when to remain silent, when to act and when to wait. This wisdom comes from a heart that is calm, not chaotic, a heart that beats with the remembrance of Allah. Another benefit of this balance is healthier relationships. When emotions are left unchecked, they often damage relationships. Anger can lead to harsh words, jealousy can cause resentment, and fear can result in unnecessary control or dependence. But when emotions are grounded in faith, they become a source of harmony rather than conflict. A spiritually stable woman communicates with kindness, forgives easily, and sets boundaries without guilt. She does not allow temporary feelings to dictate permanent decisions. In moments of crisis, this balance becomes most evident. Imagine a situation where everything seems to be falling apart, perhaps financial problems, family disputes, or health issues. A woman without spiritual grounding may panic, break down, or make hasty decisions. But a woman whose heart is anchored in Allah remains composed. She feels the pain. She is not a robot, but her faith gives her perspective. She knows that hardship is temporary, that patience is rewarded, and that Allah's help is near. This calmness not only helps her, but also inspires those around her. She becomes a pillar of strength for her family and community because her emotional depth, instead of weakening her, makes her more compassionate and resilient. Balancing emotional depth with spiritual stability is not something achieved overnight. It requires practice, consistent prayer, regular reflection, and conscious effort to respond rather than react. There will be days when emotions feel overwhelming, but those are the moments to turn inward, to reconnect with Allah, and to remind yourself of what truly matters. Over time, this practice builds a heart that is soft yet strong, tender yet firm, emotional yet wise. A woman who achieves this balance becomes a source of light in a world full of chaos. She inspires others not because she hides her emotions, but because she manages them with grace. Her calmness in trials, her humility in success, and her ability to love deeply without losing herself come from a heart that trusts Allah completely. And that is the essence of true strength, being rooted in faith while embracing the beauty of emotional depth. Unlocking hidden potential through patience and prayer is one of the most powerful realities of a believer's life, especially for women. Every human being has strengths, talents, and abilities that often remain buried beneath fear, doubt, or difficult circumstances. Many times, women underestimate their own capabilities because they measure themselves by society's unrealistic standards or because life's struggles make them feel inadequate. But in truth, the key to unlocking those hidden treasures lies in two spiritual qualities that Islam emphasizes repeatedly: patience, sabr, and prayer, salaf. These two forces combined can transform a woman's life in ways she never imagined. Patience is not simply about waiting, it is about how you wait. It is not a passive state of doing nothing, it is an active expression of trust in Allah. When life tests you through delayed dreams, unexpected challenges, or prolonged hardships, it is patience that keeps you standing. Many people give up when things do not happen according to their timeline, but a woman who practices sabr understands that everything has an appointed time. She does not rush fate because she knows that rushing only brings anxiety, while patience brings wisdom. This mindset allows her to stay calm even when things seem uncertain because her heart whispers, "My Lord's plan is better than mine." Patience is also deeply connected to personal growth. Every struggle you face is like a weight that strengthens your spiritual muscles, but only if you carry it with patience. Impatience, on the other hand, turns tests into torment because it focuses on what is missing instead of what can be learned. When a woman embraces patience, she discovers inner strengths she never knew she had. She realizes that she can endure far more than she imagined, and that hardship often brings out qualities like resilience, creativity, and wisdom. In fact, some of the greatest breakthroughs in life happen after the hardest trials, because struggle has a way of polishing the soul and revealing its true brilliance. Prayer is the second key that unlocks potential. Salah is not just a ritual, it is a lifeline. Every time a woman stands in prayer, she is connecting with the source of strength, guidance, and peace. Many people underestimate the power of prayer because they see it as a duty rather than a privilege. But when you understand its value, you begin to see prayer as the moment you recharge your soul. Imagine carrying the burdens of life alone. It would crush anyone. But prayer reminds you that you are never alone. You have direct access to the one who can change everything in an instant. Prayer also gives clarity. Many times women struggle with decisions, whether it's about education, marriage, career, or family. The uncertainty can be overwhelming. But through prayer, the heart finds direction. Salah is a moment of silence in a noisy world, a space where your mind clears and your soul speaks. It is in sujud, the most humble position, that the believer finds the highest form of strength. This connection fills you with confidence because you know that the one you are asking from has power over all things. And when you have this certainty, fear begins to fade and courage begins to grow. Together, patience and prayer create a powerful synergy. Patience gives you the strength to endure, while prayer gives you the hope to move forward. Patience teaches you that delays are not denials, and prayer assures you that every dua is heard, even if the answer comes in a different form than you expect. When these two qualities become part of a woman's character, nothing can break her spirit. She faces trials without despair, and she welcomes blessings without arrogance because her heart is anchored in faith. Unlocking potential through patience and prayer also changes how a woman views herself. Instead of seeing obstacles as signs of weakness, she begins to see them as opportunities for growth. Instead of complaining about what she lacks, she focuses on what she can do with what she has. This mindset shift is powerful because it moves her from a victim mentality to a victor mentality. She stops saying, "Why me?" and starts saying, "How can I grow through this?" That question alone can open doors to creativity, strength, and resilience. Moreover, patience and prayer protect a woman from burnout. In today's fast-paced world, people want instant result, instant success, instant happiness, instant solutions. This culture of immediacy leads to stress and disappointment because life does not work that way. Growth takes time, healing takes time, and success takes time. Patience allows you to honor that process without losing your peace, while prayer nourishes your soul so that you have the energy to keep going. These two qualities turn what seems impossible into something achievable because they align your efforts with divine timing. One of the most beautiful things about patience and prayer is that they do not just help you survive hardships, they help you thrive. They bring out qualities like humility, gratitude, and perseverance, which in turn make you stronger, wiser, and more compassionate person. And this transformation does not stay hidden. It radiates to your relationships, your work, and your community. A patient woman who prays regularly becomes a source of calm for those around her. She inspires others not by preaching but by living with grace under pressure. Every woman has potential, but not every woman discovers it because many give up too soon or seek shortcuts that compromise their values. The path of patience and prayer is not the easiest, but it is the most rewarding. It takes discipline to remain patient when everything in you wants to rush. It takes faith to keep praying when answers seem delayed. But those who persist witness miracles, sometimes in the form of answered du'as, sometimes in the form of personal transformation. And often, the greatest miracle is the woman you become in the process, a woman of strength, serenity, and unshakable faith. So if you feel stuck, lost, or overwhelmed, remember this: your potential is not locked away forever. It is waiting for you to trust Allah, to be patient with His plan, and to keep turning to Him in prayer. The combination of sabr and salah is not just a spiritual practice, it is a key that unlocks doors you never thought existed. And once those doors open, you will realize that every delay, every hardship, and every tear was preparing you for something greater than you ever imagined. True strength for a woman lies not in how much the world validates her, but in how deeply she trusts Allah. When that trust becomes unshakable, life takes on an entirely different meaning. The storms that once terrified her now feel like opportunities for growth. The setbacks that once broke her now shape her into someone wiser and more resilient. She begins to understand that life is not about controlling every outcome. It is about walking with faith, even when the path is unclear. That trust creates peace, even in the midst of uncertainty. It empowers her to keep striving without fear because her success is not measured by people, but by how much effort she makes for the sake of Allah. It gives her the courage to stand firm in her values and dignity in a world that often pressures her to compromise. It allows her to love, to nurture, to lead, and to achieve without arrogance because she knows all goodness flows from Allah alone. A woman who trusts Allah is unstoppable, not because she has everything, but because she knows that Allah is enough. And when Allah is enough, everything else falls into its rightful place.